Hello. I always leave it a couple of seconds because YouTube always cuts me off at the very beginning. So hello, hopefully I'm live on the Dixie Belle YouTube channel. I'm Connie from Faff Designs and I'm one of your Dixie Belle brand ambassadors. Also, I haven't got a mic on today because I've had to plug my phone on charge because it was low again. It did this last week. I think it's trying to sabotage me. So, say hi if you're watching. Let me know. If you're watching, hi Jackie. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me okay? Because I haven't got a mic on. Hello, 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 hello. I can see people saying hello. So, a little bit of story about the coffee table behind me. It had two choices this week. It was either going to be burned or we were going to start over. So we're starting over. As much as I enjoy a good bonfire. So basically, remember me saying the top had some damage and it's veneer, and last week we were kind of patching it up and it actually looked okay. It looked okay. When I came to seal it, because I put another coat of the Voodoo gel stain, and obviously that's more product. Then I came to seal it, that's more product. What it was doing, it was lifting more and more of the veneer. So it would have been a heck of a lot of work to try and get it to be a stained top, because I was just going to flip this. I was just going to paint the sort of main bit of it, if you like, in a silk colour and just stain the top and make it kind of like a modern farmhousey vibe. Nah, that's gone straight out of the window. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do a Faff Designs classic. I'm going to do my apothecary. I really struggle with that word. I'm going to do my apothecary look on a coffee table. So it's going to be industrial, it's going to be rustic, it's going to be layers, it's going to be distressed. It's going to be fun. And because I want this coffee table out of my way ASAP, I've only got a very small space that I paint in and it is driving me nuts. I've got another piece there, another piece there. I've got a piece out there drying and I've got a piece underneath this coffee table. So I am limited for space. What I'm going to do is speed it up because this process, you have to do quite a lot of layers and then distress it back. It's my piece de resistance look. So what I'm going to do is I will continue this coffee table over on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to do this stage with you now. This is like step one, if you like. We're going back to the beginning. We're scratching everything that we did. Sometimes this is what happens with secondhand, pre-loved, vintage, antique furniture. Throws curveballs and then you have to start over. It's happened to me more times than I care to imagine. And you just kind of have to go with the flow, because sometimes you can't force things to do what you want them to do without putting in a ridiculous amount of time, effort and money. And I'm just not that kind of girl. I like a quick result. So I try and go with what the furniture dictates. So this piece it needs some work to get there. It'd need the top redoing. Another thing I thought was to basically take the top off altogether and put planks on top to make it rustic, and I just thought, no, too much work, way too much work for me. I'm not a woodworker by any stretch of the imagination, so no. So we're gonna go with a bit more of an industrial kind of vibe. So I've already done the other sides of this. Where's my paint? So I've already done the sides of this. I've already got a mixture. So step one, you're going to need sea spray, which is a texture additive. It's a powder form and you get a little scoop with it. It's just basically a powder, a very fine powder. And you can add that into your paint and make it thick. The colour that I'm using, please don't judge my pot, is drop cloth, because it's a great neutral. Coverage wise, it's fab, and it's like an off-white, so it's quite vintagey looking, and we're going for kind of like an aged look. So I have added my drop cloth into here, And that is basically what it looks like when I've added my sea spray. So there's quite a lot of sea spray in here. Can you see how that's basically not moving? Partly because I've been working on this already and some of the water out of the paint has evaporated. And partly because I've got it in a paper plate, a paper bowl, and that absorbs some of the water as well. So just bear that in mind if you are mixing this mixture. You might find that it goes drier over time. And this has only been here 20 minutes or so. So it is slightly drying up. I'm using a premium chip brush. Dixie Belle premium chip brush. These are really inexpensive and they're quite good for using with sea spray, because you wouldn't really want to use a beautiful synthetic bristle brush, one of the lovely Dixie Belle brushes for this kind of job, because you probably end up knackering the brushes. These are perfect. They're quite inexpensive. Having said that, I tend to wash these out and reuse them anyway. Even if I've used it for sea spray, you can see what it does to the bristles. So these are perfect for texture. Like I say, if you do end up ruining it, it's not that bad. I think these are like, are they $6? They're only retailers on watching. So yeah, if you are a retailer watching, make sure you pop your link to your store, because I think the #1 asked question that I get is, where can I buy Dixie Belle paint from? You can buy Dixie Belle paint from a Dixie Belle retailer. And you can find those by going on the Dixie Belle website, putting your location in, and it'll find your closest one, and make sure you support small businesses and support local. And that's all I've got to say. That's where you get Dixie Belle from. Anyway, with my ever hardening mixture, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to pounce this on the surface all over this coffee table, all over. Like I say, I've already done the other 3 sides. I've left this side to show you. I've also got, oh no, what's that? That looks like nail varnish. That wasn't me. Doesn't matter. So I am going to pounce this all over. So a tapping motion. It's going to create lots and lots of texture. So if you want a smooth finish, don't do this. This is people who love a smooth, perfect finish, worst nightmare. But I enjoy it, so. Love a bit of texture, love a bit of texture. So I've done this technique quite a bit, but I've changed. You can change the colour. You can do any colours you like. I'm going to do a trio of colours that, I say trio, it's actually 4. But I'm going to use colours that I've used before to give this like a classic apothecary look. So if you think apothecary, well, I think apothecary, I think of black with sort of like bits of colour that's distressed, and you can see little peaks of colour. The idea is it looks aged and worn with lots of colours underneath it that have perhaps kind of been chipped away at over the years. So I always start off with this kind of off-white, which is drop cloth, just because it gives, like I say, it gives really good coverage. It gives a nice base, and it's just one of the colours that I've always used in this kind of look. I always start off with a neutral base when I'm doing these particular colours. But I have also done this technique with orange. I shared an orange piece on my social media last week, and although it looks completely different, because obviously I used different colours, I used Daisy, I think, Antebellum Blue and Florida Orange. Because I'm using different colours, the outcome is obviously a lot different, but the technique is the same. So you can take this technique and roll with your own colours, and you can do as many colours as you like. At least 3, I would say, at least 3, just to get the kind of layers effect. But you can do as many as you wanted to. So I'll be back on my own YouTube channel tomorrow, live, with the next layer of colour. Anybody guess what it is? If you followed me for a bit, you might know, because you might have seen me do this kind of look before. So the trick with applying texture, I think, is make it look random. Don't make it look contrived. Alter your brush on the surface, alter the thickness of the product. If you apply it really consistently, it just looks a bit artificial, and a bit kind of intentional. So you want it to look completely random. So you can see in some areas, I do have little bits of wood peeking through. That's fine. I also have some areas where the texture is particularly heavy. Again, that's fine. And this is really good if you've got a piece that is really kind of beyond repair or beyond economical repair, where it costs you a fortune. This piece is such an inexpensive piece. It's not solid oak. It's a veneer. There's like an MDF underneath it. It's really kind of not sort of worth any money, if that makes sense. So for me to kind of repair the top or replace the veneer on the top, it's just not worth it. So this technique is really good if you do have anything with veneer damage or any big sort of cracks or those kind of things. I've done this before where there's been cracks on pieces and we've kind of embraced it and kind of gone with the look. So it's quite a good technique for rescuing those pieces that you think are unrescuable. If that's even a word. Unrescuable. So this dries absolutely rock solid. Sea spray, I'm pretty sure, I don't know what's in it, what magical ingredient is in it, but it dries rock solid. So, excuse me. So can you see close up all the texture on that base? It looks absolutely horrendous at the moment. It looks horrendous. However, this colour, Joanne, this is drop cloth. So this is the first layer that we're going to do. We are going back to the beginning with this coffee table because the damage is beyond repair. The top I tried to patch up. It just kept getting worse and worse. The veneer was lifting the more product that I was adding. So we're going to do a really kind of rustic industrial kind of vibe on it. So this colour is drop cloth. It's a warm off-white. It's a really, really good neutral coverage-wise. And that's why I'm using it, because I only want to do one coat. Don't want to have to do multiple coats. So I'm going to carry on doing all the rest of this piece. So this is going all over. Every single surface is going to be covered in drop cloth. Like I say, some areas are thinner where you can see the wood and it's really thin product wise. Other areas we've got loads and loads of texture building up. And then as it starts to dry, let me just catch that little edge there so I don't forget. As it starts to dry, what I like to do with my brush is just really lightly run it over the surface of where I've been. What that's going to do is it forces those really high peaks of texture, it forces them a little bit flatter so that you don't get so much kind of spiky texture. It's more kind of smoothed down. The texture's still there, but it's smoothed down. So if you look at an old door that's been outside and weathered, you can see layers kind of chipping off. You don't really get high peaks of texture. You get kind of layers. So I'm kind of going for that more layered look, which is why I'm brushing down the really high peaks of the texture. So I'm hooked up to my phone charger, but I'll see if I can bring you in a little bit closer. Okay, so you see here, there's quite a lot of clumpy bits of texture there. So what I do is I just get my brush and I kind of just drag it over. I don't want it to be flat. I don't want the texture to be flat. I just don't want it to be spiky. because obviously that's going to be apparent when we distress it at the end, well, near the end. So I just kind of take that brush that's full of product and a little bit kind of stiff and just drag it over like that. You can also do this with the thingamajig tool, and you can also do it with like a plastic spatula or a palette knife or anything like that really. It's just easier to do it with the brush because I've got it here. So I'm just, and it's just as it's starting to dry. You don't want to do it when it's too wet. If you do it when you've just applied the mixture, it will smooth it out altogether, which obviously you don't want to do. You don't want a smooth, thick layer of paint of product on the surface. You still want that texture, but you don't want it really, really spiky, because what happens is when you distress it, all those peaks that you've created with the texture will be apparent, and it'll look kind of, I mean, it gives a cool effect, don't get me wrong. That's not the effect that I'm going for. I'm going for more of a kind of paint peeling kind of effect, if that makes sense. So just as it starts to dry, just drag it out a little bit like that. At this stage, don't worry about the fact that I've painted the drawer in situ and I've got a bit of paint in here. We're going to distress it. We're going to tidy up afterwards. I'm a kind of tidy up after kind of person, not a tape off and paint neatly first round kind of person. I always worry about that afterwards. But that's just how I roll. I know some people always tape off the drawers and all that malarkey and make it look really neat and tidy. I just can't. I just want to get stuck in with the paint. So that's how quick that is to cover that entire side. Like I say, I've got to do in here as well. It's a bit more fiddly in here, so I'm going to have to get my head kind of in. Not really a great one to show on a live. So this has had just the one coat. You can see how well drop cloth covers. It's a really good, if you just want a good coverage neutral, drop cloth is the one. But this is going to dry rock solid. It's going to dry with that texture on the surface of it. And then I'm going to come back tomorrow on my own YouTube channel. So that's Faff Designs. And then we're going to add the next layer. If anyone can guess what colour I'm going to do the next layer, drop it in the comments. Bet no one guesses. Unless anybody here has seen a very old video of mine. So yes, that's what we're going to do. And I don't know what time it'll be tomorrow, but I will, obviously, it'll stay on YouTube. It will be on, it'll be on a playlist. I can't even think what I'm doing today, let alone what I'm doing tomorrow. I'll probably do it in the morning, to be honest. Or will I? Shall we just make it the same time? Same time tomorrow. 2 o'clock UK time, which is 9 AM EST. I'll be live on my own YouTube channel, just to keep it easy and simple. No, Joanne, it's not Tree Frog Green. It could be. It would look very good as Tree Frog Green, but it's not Tree Frog Green. 2 o'clock tomorrow, UK time, 9 AM EST. I'll be back on my YouTube channel, on my own channel, and I'll be doing the next layer of this. It'll probably be only a quick live, because with this technique, I've got to let all the layers dry in between. So I won't stay on for long, because this technique is actually, it's so easy, but it's really effective. And it's really quick to do. You just have to allow the layers to dry in between. And that's it. So, that's where we are with coffee table, redo of a redo. We're starting again. Disregard the last two. Although the last two were, you know, kind of useful, I hope, maybe, in a way. Just wasn't the direction this coffee table wanted to go. It wants to be rough. It wants to be a bit distressed. It wants to be a bit industrial. And to be fair, I was thinking industrial to start off with. And should have just gone with that, shouldn't I? Should have gone with the gut instinct to start off with. So, that's my live for today. Thank you for joining me. If you have, thank you for watching on the replay. If you are, make sure you drop the comments in of the colour that you think I might be doing next. And I will see you tomorrow on my own YouTube channel. If you can't make it there, you can watch the replay, and I'll be back here next week. I'll probably still have this, so I'll be finishing this off, and all the replays will be on the various YouTube channels anyway. Hopefully I'll be able to edit a little video and put it all together at the end if you can't bother to watch the lives. So thank you for joining me, and yeah, hopefully catch you tomorrow or next week. Bye.